An 8-year-old girl made a distress call to 911 and a police officer, along with his partner, were dispatched to the scene. The girl had been living alone in an old house following an event that occurred to her mother. "Excuse me? Hello, hello," a little girl said through the phone. 911, what's your emergency?" the operator asked. "My stomach is very painful, sir," the little girl responded quietly. After asking a couple more questions, the operator noted her location and dispatched a policeman to check on her right away. "Help is on the way, little girl. Hold on." Officer Peter Stump and his partner James Smith were in their cruiser when they were paged to check on the little girl. They had just finished patrolling the area and were taking a quick break. They were munching on some hamburgers, talking about a couple of jokes that Stump had discovered from his children. He was in the middle of telling one when they got paged. "Better luck next time with your jokes, my dude," his partner said, laughing. The officers drove to the house, located about 5 minutes away from their current location. Upon arriving at the quiet street in New Jersey, they proceeded to knock on the door. After several attempts with no response, they attempted to open the door. It turned out to be unlocked, so they took a step inside. "Hello, police," Officer Smith said, waiting for a response. "Is anyone here?" Officer Stump asked. They decided to take a quick look around the house, with Officer Smith going up the stairs. As soon as he reached the top, he heard a little girl sobbing. There, he saw a little girl sitting on the floor by her room, clutching her stomach. "What's the matter, little girl?" he asked, walking towards her. "I'm really hungry. My tummy hurts a lot," she cried. "Where are your parents?" he asked. "It's only me and my mommy at home. My mom left to buy us some food from my favorite restaurant, but she's still not home," she explained. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "My name is Stella Jackson," she said. They took the little girl to a small eatery, and it wasn't hard for her to feel comfortable around the officers. Stump was able to tell her some jokes, and she kept laughing at them.
Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story.
Later on, they found out that her mother was in a nearby hospital after she got into a car accident while on the way back home. She suffered a concussion and a few minor bruises. Officer Stump didn't want the girl to feel scared, so he decided to take responsibility for the child until her mother came back. The officers spent the entire afternoon with Stella. They drove to New York City and showed her all the sights. They also allowed her to choose any restaurant she wanted to eat in for dinner. Everything was going well until Stella noticed they weren't going towards the direction of her place that night. "I live over at Downey Street to the left. We're going the opposite direction," she said after the officer took a right. "Your mom will be away for a while, Stella, but she asked you to wait for her. Is that okay?" Officer Smith asked. The little girl nodded, trusting the police officers who just spent the day with her. She didn't ask a lot of questions, but she had faith that her mom would come back in the next couple of days. While they thought Stella's mother would be discharged by the end of the day, the results of a couple of tests required her to stay at the hospital. Officer Stump took care of the little girl for 4 days, until her mother finally regained her consciousness. On that particular day, Officer Stump took Stella to the hospital, where she was reunited with her mother. The two shared a heartfelt embrace before Officer Stump drove them home in his cruiser. Upon their arrival, Cindy, Stella's mother, expressed her gratitude towards the officers for their compassionate assistance. After that day, the two officers would join the family for meals, and they would often visit Stella, packed with jokes that the little girl laughed at the entire afternoon. What did we learn from this story? To excel in whatever task you undertake is imperative. While Officer Smith and Officer Stump's responsibility as police officers was to ensure Stella's safety, they went beyond their call of duty by looking after her while her mother was still in the hospital. It's crucial to educate your children about emergency procedures. Children may not always know how to respond during an emergency. However, when Stella's mother didn't return home in time for lunch that day, Stella knew to call 911. Although her reasoning was due to hunger, which some might not consider an emergency, her action was still the correct course of action as it prevented her from being alone for an extended period.